Hey, welcome to the Philosophy Podcast. I am your host, Controversy, and to my right, ladies and gentlemen, my co-host, none other than Mr.
Darren Love!
And together, we are the Philosophy Podcast. Thank you to you guys for tuning in to a brand new episode. Thank you for tuning in once again this week, guys. And yeah, like we always say, without further ado, what is on the agenda for this week, mate? What is today's hot topic?
I thought we'd talk about existence.
Existence.
Yeah, you know, like being here, you know, like...
Ta-da!
Ding ding! Ding ding! We're here. Existence. You know, we witness it, don't we?
Yeah, we bear witness.
Of this, you know? It's quite an experience.
Of our reality, our 3D physical existence, reality. So this week, we are talking all about
existence.
So what are your thoughts and your opinions and your on existence, man?
Well, you know, like if I didn't exist and you did exist, this show wouldn't exist.
Ta-da! End of story.
Ding ding.
Yeah, end of story. Good night. Yeah. Lights out.
Yeah.
God bless.
You know, I think existence is very important. That's for sure. You know, like. Wouldn't be no good if you didn't exist, really.
Of course.
You know, if you weren't born.
Well, give thanks that we exist. Give thanks for life. Give thanks for existence, you know? Because before we existed, creation existed. You know?
I mean,
so,
you think, like, the universe itself. It's been here for a phenomenal long time.
Yeah.
You know, here we are. You know, you're born, right? And really, we're here for a blink of an eye, really, just to sort of witness it. You know.
Yeah.
And then you come into existence, don't you? And you're not really aware of existence when you're young, sort of. You know, you wake up to your existence slowly in time, don't you? You know. Then you realise you're not here forever. You're gonna die. Do you know what I mean? You're a witness to other people dying, basically, aren't we? You know, around us. You know, and
different experiences and.
I'm just saying, everyone probably gone to a funeral, say.
Oh yeah.
They've all seen dead bodies around them, do you know what I mean?
We're,
you know, all dead animals, for instance, and everything dies.
Everything dies.
Everything.
Yeah.
You know, every tree.
It's a cycle, which is a cycle of life, you know.
You know, like you exist, and then you've got the horrifying realisation, because when you're younger, you think you're going to exist forever.
Oh yeah.
You know?
You're kind of unaware of
death.
Unaware of your own mortality, are you?
Oh, you're not aware of death, are you?
No.
You know, it's like when you're younger, you go to, you know, like if your nan dies when you're young, and you go up to your mum and dad and say, where did your mum, where did nan go? And they go, oh, to heaven, you know, she's still alive.
Yeah.
You know, and all this sort of rubbish.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean, you know. And, you know, the reality is we do die. We do, you know, I don't think anyone knows where we actually go to after this, do you know what I mean? But I feel that, you know, like...
Well, I don't believe in the saying... Well, I don't want to divert too much off his existence too much, but I don't believe in the idea of what they say to us about death, mate. This westernised idea of what they tell people about death, if you see what I mean, you know. I don't believe in that. I think energy, we are all energy, right? I'm a big believer that everything is energy, you know. The universe exists off of energy, frequency and vibration. That is just the universe and everything that's within it, creation.
A heartbeat.
Yeah.
Heartbeat.
That's it. So yeah, I don't believe in that I don't really too much subscribe to like the westernised idea of what they call death and etc. You know, I believe that we live forever. You know, that energy doesn't. As they say, energy doesn't die. It can merely be transformed. Like, you know, we transform. You know, we transition into a different phase of life. If you see what I mean. You know, the physical dies. You know, and then, you know, the soul or whatever you choose to call it. You know. You know, like you said, bears witness to, you know.
Well, we're witness, really, to that existence is possible.
Yeah.
Basically, you know, aren't we? You know, and we know that it's reality, we know that it's true.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like magic in a kind of way, isn't
Oh, for
it?
sure, yeah.
In a funny way, you know, where we're here and then we're not, in a kind of way, you know. Existence, really, I think, is a very magical thing, really.
Yeah.
You know, it's phenomenal, really. I think. You know, when you think about it, you know, even a little ant to me, it's existent. You know, it's existing. Put it that way. You know, it's a living creature. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, just pretend there were no humans or no animals. You know, and there was an ant walking about. Do you know what I mean? Still a miracle.
Yeah.
It's existence. You know. You know, even a plant.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
existing.
Yeah, exists.
You know, and it's kind of a miracle when you think about it. You know. Existence itself. You know, like, okay, I've got my body. Yeah. And I'm really sort of pleased that I've got 2 hands. I mean, I wish I had 3 hands. You know, I could do more. Or 4 hands.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, but you think like you've got what you got, whatever you've got, you know.
And you accept it for what it is.
Well, you know, you might be born with 1 eye. Do you know what I mean?
God forbid. Yeah.
Whatever, you know. But basically, on average, we're born with 2 hands, 2 legs, a mouth, you know, to talk with, whatever, a smell, nose, you know, whatever, and that's it really, you know. But then you realise as you're growing up, you haven't just got that, you've got an outer body too, which is kind of like the trees, the flowers, the sky. You know, without that, that's our outer body. You know, you wouldn't exist without it. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like this universe has given us an outer body in a kind of way to exist in. You know, we're like little bubbles of existence in it, like a little fly's out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, we're just and like you say, energies.
Energy. Yeah.
You know, like we're alive. We're trying to keep warm as well. That's energy. Do you know what I mean? We are energies, like you say, and we're also memories as well.
Of course. Yeah.
You know, I think that comes into it a bit. You know, like, I think like you know, it's quite an interesting subject to talk about, really.
Definitely.
You know, existence. You know.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in. I believe that creation was here before man, like you said. You know, the earth and everything was already here. You know, animals and the stars and the water and all these things were here before man. You know. And then man was created, you know. So.
Well, I think the earth really slowly formed, you know, before any living creature. You know, insects have been living, I think, 40 million years apparently. You know, but humans only 4 million years, billion years or something, or you know.
Yeah.
I know that insects have been living a lot longer than human beings. Let's put it that way. You know.
Yeah.
I mean. Yeah, history is very interesting as well. You know that there's a lot of people that's existed through history, but not here any longer. You know, and they've left evidence really of their existence,
their legacy,
through writing, or on stone.
Yeah,
you know, in a kind of way. You know.
Yeah, or just through who they were as a person. You know, sometimes people are remembered for me, what is most important for me, I want to be remembered for. I want people to remember me for the person of who I was, you know, and what I represent, and who, you know, and what I stand on, essentially, like my morals, my principles, and you know, when I eventually go, I want people to remember me as someone who was loving and caring and peaceful and kind and generous and all the other, you know, trustworthy and loyal and all the good shit, you know. That's how, you know, for me that's important, like, you know, that's the kind of legacy I want to leave behind, you know. Like obviously I've got other personal goals and stuff like that that might lead to me leaving a different type of legacy behind as well, but the main focus for me is always, as an individual, is to leave behind a legacy where people do remember you, you know, remember you because you just treated them in a good way, if you see what I mean. They remembered you for...
That's right, you know, I mean...
they had a good memory of you, if you see what I mean. You know, you touched them in a positive way, if you see what I mean. You know?
That's it. You know, I mean, I enjoy going out and being a good memory to everyone, so they can remember me tomorrow.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's really the purpose of life, really. You know, sort of making good memories rather than bad memories.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, I think we're all very, very lucky to exist.
Yeah.
Very, very lucky. You know, and I think we should appreciate existence.
Yeah.
A lot more.
Okay.
And respect other existence as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm a big believer too, right, mate, that that we come here for a reason too. I feel like Earth is kind of like a school, you know? The universe, you know, you call it university, you know? Where does the word come from? Universe, you know? Like you got universe, you got university, you know? I think like the word is kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like we come here to learn particular lessons and to like grow in different ways, to grow, you know, as a human being in lots of different ways, you know, and for you to learn and to understand maybe things that you didn't know before, or to learn certain lessons, or to have certain experiences to help you evolve, like, you know. So yeah, I'm a big believer in that too. I believe that we're here for a reason. Everyone's here for a reason to learn something, or to, you know, to grow in some way, shape or form, you know, to help them evolve, whether it be spiritually, mentally, you know, emotionally, psychologically, whatever, you know. So yeah, life is a blessing, you know. You have to count your blessings, you know. As long as you wake up every day and you've got the essentials and life's not too bad, you've got to count your blessings. You know, you could wake up, you've got food in your cupboards, and you know, you've got a nice place to live, and you know, you've got a job, and you're able to look after yourself and your loved ones and all that kind of thing. Life's not that bad, you know. You've got to give thanks, you know.
I think like different parts of the world, different countries have got different hierarchies, I suppose.
Oh yeah,
different
of course, yeah.
empires, or different conditions, weather conditions. You know, some places are dry, some places are wet all the time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
You know, and all this kind of thing. So I think we all live in different sort of borders. Do you know what I mean? Within, and you can't go. Sometimes you can't go out of those borders. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With different laws and all this sort of stuff.
Restricted,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
You know, and all, you know, and I think it's, you know, like what I'm trying to say is you can sort of like be born in this world, and you know, like we don't ever, you know, no one chooses where they're born.
Oh, no.
I mean, you're just born. You don't choose your parents. Really.
No, you don't.
You
You don't get a choice in any of the matter. Like, you know, it's.
You're just born, right? And you know, so you might be born in Africa.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to put up with that reality around there. Do you know what I mean? The hot, the cold, you know, and whatever, and whatever the system is. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever's dominating that place. Do you know what I mean? And all kinds of things. You know, so the reality's not so good. You know, so it might be slavery around that place as well, you know, still, do you know what I mean? You know, the people get like, you know, like it's not worth living in the kind of way. It's like taking their soul away, do you know what I mean? Because they're parted from their children for some reason, or this or that, you know. And it kind of like there's no hope in this world for them, do you know what I mean? You know, for some people. But in other parts, they're doing good, you know, they're rich and everything's, you know, you know, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like different realities, you know, and then other places, they've got no TV, just nice trees around them, you know, it's like Adam and Eve still, do you know what I mean? And I think we're all living in different realities all around the world.
Of course, yeah.
You know, and different existence.
Of course, yeah.
You know?
Because the average lifestyle of someone in the UK, let's say, for example, right, mate? There's some people in certain places today that are living in such conditions, right, mate, that they would love to have someone else. They would love to take someone's life here in the UK.
Right.
If you see what I mean, they would say, "Oh, what are you complaining about? You know, you're like, you know, I'm living here in extreme, you know, extreme amounts of poverty and suffering, whatever, and you're complaining about, you know, having to go to work every day and just being able, you know, and you know, meanwhile you're still going home, you've got a decent place to live, you've still got food in the cupboards, you still drive a car, you still got your kid, you know, you still." Whatever, looked after, you know. So it's
there is two sides of the world, really, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? You've got the peasants, and then you've got the lords, whatever. Do you know what I mean? You've got the loyalists and all this sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I remember not even long ago, right? There was a program on the television, right, mate? I think me and my wife watched a couple of episodes of it, and I never watched television, but my wife we saw it, and
yes, you do.
Well, hardly ever, but we saw it together, and we thought, oh, that was quite interesting. But the program was basically, they were taking these people who were coming from very rich backgrounds, yeah, and letting them spend like a week with people who were living in very poor circumstances, and showing them how they have to scrimp and scrape and are continuously, literally struggling to pay all the bills, don't even, you know, have enough to
and please the rich.
Like, etc. Like, they're really struggling, you know, can't pay their bills, struggling to eat, like, you know, etc. You know, I remember watching a couple of episodes of that one time a few years back, and I thought, wow, this is really like a really good program, because it really, I think it helps people to like perspective, you know, helps to give people perspective, like count your blessings, you know, like you might think you've got it bad, but I can guarantee you there's lots of other people out there that have got it way worse, you know. So yeah, you know, it's all about perspective, you know.
That's right. I mean, I was watching this documentary today about Ralph, you know, and the royal family a bit, you know, and all this sort of stuff, you know. And there's this man who's, I like to start, I can't remember his name, you know, but I'm not gonna. But I was watching this man, and he's quite, you know, he's really high up.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a huge manor.
Yeah, okay.
Which he's inherited from his granddad. Okay. And it's like got a real. It used to have like 100 people living in it. Do you know what I mean? It used to sort of like have like 100 sort of like waiters and all this. Do you know what I mean? Just keeping the house clean and all this. You know, they used to live in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It used to be a sort of like a kind of, I don't know, like a almost like a city within a city. Yeah. In a funny way, you know, like people working in there or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, that all ended. You know, now he's got this house to himself. Okay, really huge. Okay, and he says he sometimes goes in this room because it's a bit different in the winter and all this, you know. And it's really real snob. I'm gonna have to show you this. Do you know what I mean? You know, I'll link it or whatever. It's amazing. But anyway, he's sitting there, and the place is full up with suitcases, really good stuff like. You know, real rich stuff and all that. Really untidy, like he's, like, don't, you know, like there's no one working there anymore.
Oh, okay,
He's got no one working for him anymore. Do you know what I mean? He's got no money left.
Ah, I see.
You know,
okay.
he's selling bits and pieces now, you know, sometimes, you know, just to, but he don't do nothing, right, this guy. He just relaxes and relaxes, and he has his breakfast taken to him in the morning at 8 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
He has a specific time, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've got these two ladies working in there in the kitchen, you know, and they bring the breakfast up at this time,
Okay.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You don't have to do anything, do you know what I mean? But he's living in this big house, and honestly, it's like a dump in there.
Yeah, wow.
Got cobwebs, you know, everywhere.
Yeah,
you know.
not looked after.
Well, you know, you think, wow.
Well, somewhere like that, mate, if you've got an estate or somewhere like that, mate, it requires a lot of maintenance, you know? So that's the thing, when you maybe, that's why sometimes people forget, like even some of these celebrity people, right, mate, when they're at the height of their career, right, they might make a huge purchase of a house, right, like say buy a £5 million house, let's say for example, which is up, you know, comes with lots of, you know, lots of acres and lots of land, it's a huge house. People forget that in order to maintain that, like especially like the outdoors and indoors,
Big
you know,
responsibility.
you're spending a lot of money on housekeeping and gardening and all these bills that you've got just out, not even related to the house or anything else like that. You've got to, you know. So yeah, that's why sometimes people in the height of their career, they'll make a huge purchase, if you see what I mean. Like some of these really, you know, people that, you know, do blow up, whatever, make a lot of money quickly, and then, you know, 5-10 years later, they end up having to sell it because they're like, I cannot afford the maintenance of this house continuously for the next, you know what I mean, you're talking about 100 grand a year just to maintain the house. That's, you know, not including your shopping, your electricity bills, your water, your gas, everything else. Like, you know, some of them, they end up struggling in the long run, you know, because, you know. Yeah.
I mean, like you think, like if you've got a big mansion house, right, and you're living on your own, that house, you've got to warm it up.
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, especially in this country.
It'd be colder too.
It's damp. It starts falling apart.
Oh,
of
course,
if you don't look after it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know. But that's another thing. All these buildings that we have got, like for instance Buckingham Palace or even the pyramids.
Yeah.
They existed. They exist.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? They're buildings that, you know, like you can look at that building. Okay, I know it's changed. Like say the pyramids, for instance. I know it probably looked a lot nicer, but it's still there today. Do you know what I mean? But it's a bit more, you know, and this is kind of like evidence that, you know, that people used to exist that long time ago.
Oh,
yeah. You know,
historical evidence of,
you know, and it's like buildings in a kind of way, you know, unless they're destroyed, you know, completely demolished, they will carry on to existing, do you know what I mean? You know, there's like these big cathedrals that you see all around the world existing, you know. You know, I'm sort of like studying into them a bit at the moment, you know. Like Salisbury Cathedral's apparently sort of like the first mechanical clock ever. 1200.
Okay.
Yeah, that was built. Do you know what I mean? And the building itself, phenomenal. It's a bit like it's almost. I know it's the same design from the same designer of Westminster.
Okay.
Big Ben.
Okay.
And do you know it's not named Big Ben?
Mm.
You know it's called Queen Elizabeth now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
changed. That's the name of it now.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
Big Ben was. It was named Big Ben because that was the name of the builder called Ben.
Okay.
The builder.
Yeah.
So named after him, but it's officially changed.
Yeah.
I can't remember when it was.
What, to the Queen Elizabeth Tower?
Yeah, it's
That's
Queen
what it is.
Elizabeth Tower now.
Something like that, yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not Big Ben anymore, it's the Queen Elizabeth Tower.
Yeah.
Now, like, you know, like there's another clock existing like that in the same design
Okay.
in a city called Mecca.
Oh, yeah.
Near Iran.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, Mecca, yeah.
And it's like designed on Big Ben, exactly the same, but like 100 times bigger.
Okay.
Okay, it's huge.
Yeah.
Okay, and Mecca time's different to our time zone. You know.
Yeah.
And there's like different time zones existing. You know, and like you think like time itself, you know, sort of because I've been looking at it a bit this lately. You know, it's existing today. You know, they've made clocks. Do you know what I mean? And they're kind of like clocks everywhere. You know, in every town almost. You know what I mean? You know, they put clocks, big tower clocks. You know what I mean? Everywhere. And they're kind of dominating us in a funny way, you know, and like I say, people with different religions have got different time zones.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sort of like learning that one, you know.
Yeah.
And it's quite strange, you know, like after wars and things like this, sometimes they change their time, Canada, to a different one. Do you know what I mean? And everyone's got to get used to a different calendar. Do you know what I mean? You know. And